Good morning. This is the math lesson that you're going to have for Thursday. And we're going to be looking at graphing inequalities. And what we're learning today, we're learning how to graph inequalities, and we're also going to take a look at being able to graph an inequality provides you with a visual representation of the inequality, and it makes it clearer to see. How are you going to know you've learned this? Well, one, you're going to be able to read and identify what the question is asking. And then you're going to draw a number line, identify the starting point and ending point when necessary, and draw an open or closed point. You're also going to draw an arrow or a line segment to show all possible solutions. Now, when I'm thinking about drawing an open or a closed point, I want you to visualize being able to hold the number in your hand that you're looking at for starting the number line and deciding, is it going to be open or closed? If that number is part of your solution and you can hold it in your hand, it's a closed number. If that number is not part of your solution and you cannot hold it in your hand, it's an open number. So, for example, if my solution includes 45 and I can hold that in my hand, I'm going to have a closed circle. I'm going to shade that circle in. If 45 is not part of my answer and it's a number is either larger or smaller than 45, but 45 is not part of the solution, it's an open circle. I cannot hold that in my hand. So I hopefully that will become clear as we take a look at the rest of the work that we're going to be doing. But just remember, if it's a closed circle, you can hold that number in your hand. It's part of the solution. If it's not part of the solution, it's an open circle. So here we go. Taking a look at the input model, and a weightlifter must lift more than 400 pounds to qualify for finals. Well, if he must weigh more than 400 pounds, 401, 402, 403, 400 and a half pounds are more than 400 pounds. Anything greater than 400 is going to be part of the solution set. So looking at my graph that I have here, I go 300, 350, 400, 450, 500, 550, and all the way up, and I could keep going. So I have an open point on this solution graph that I have listed here. And again, it's an open point because 400 is not part of the solution. It has to be, the weightlifter has to be lift weights greater than 400 pounds. And 400 is not included, so it's an open circle. Looking at the next input model, the school play will be less than 45 minutes long. Less than, not 45 minutes, less than 45. 44 and 30 seconds, 44 and 45 seconds, 44 and 59 seconds are all less than 45. So the play is less than 45 minutes long. I'm looking at my number line and the graph that's drawn here, and I notice it ends with a closed circle here. Why doesn't this keep going? What do you think? Why doesn't that arrow just keep going to the left? Taking a look at the 45, and again, it has to be less than, so I understand the open circle here, but why is it a closed circle? Why does it end at 0 minutes? What do you think? Is it possible to have negative minutes? And no, it's not. So it has to stop at 0 because anything less than that would not make sense. You can't have negative time. So let's go on to structured guided practice. And a savings account balance is now more than $450. Write the inequality and then graph it on a number line. So I've started a graph here. I want you to draw your graph and can also add interval markers of halfway, so that would be 50. Since this is more than 450, we need that starting point. Okay, so you've got your number line drawn, and we know that we're going to begin here at 450, but is it going to be an open circle or is it going to be a closed circle? The savings account balance is now more than $450. It's not just 450, it's more than. So my arrow is going to continue out in this direction, and it's going to be an open circle because it is more than $450. $450.20, $450.50, $451. All of those are more than $450. Let's take a look at this. M is greater than -1. Again, I want you to draw your number line. Put your interval markers. M is greater than -1. Okay, and I want you to talk with your partner. What is this going to look like? I know that this is going to be my starting point here. It's greater than -1, so it's going to go out to the right, and it could keep going. It doesn't have to end there. But is this going to be shaded in, or is it going to be open? M is greater than -1. So could it be -1? Could you hold that -1 in your hand? And if you left this as an open circle, you're absolutely correct. It's not greater than or equal to, it's greater than -1. So it cannot include -1 in its answer set. Final check for understanding. Graph the inequality on a number line. And I have x is greater than -4. Well, this is very much like the one that we just did. So you're going to draw your number line. X is greater than -4. So I'm going to have -4, -3, -2. And you're setting up your number line. Okay, now we need to graph that greater than -4. So here's where I'm going to start. Greater than means your solution set is going to move to the right. It could keep going. It doesn't have to end here. So I'm going to keep this as an arrow. If it's greater than -4, can it include -4? And no, it cannot. So that's going to remain an open circle. You must be taller than 4 feet to ride the roller coaster. Write the inequality and then graph it on the number line. You must be taller than 4 feet. So what would that look like? Taller than 4 feet to ride the roller coaster. And if we're talking about taller, I could use H, or you could put T for taller. And what would that inequality look like? H, taller than 4. What would that look like? So write your inequality statement, draw your number line, and graph your inequality statement. Take about 1 minute for this. So pause the video here and check back in a minute. Okay, well, my inequality, I'm going to have H is greater than 4. If I have to be taller than 4 feet, then it has to be greater than. And can I be 4 feet? This doesn't say equal to or taller. It says taller than 4 feet. So if I'm 4 feet, I guess I'm not riding that roller coaster. So I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But let's be realistic. We're talking about height. We're really going to have someone who's 10 or 11 feet tall? I don't think so. But I have to be taller than 4 feet. So this is where I'm starting. I have to be taller than 4 feet. And this is going to remain an open circle because if I am 4 feet, so sorry, not getting on the ride. I have to be taller than 4 feet to ride that roller coaster. I remember those days when I was not tall enough to ride the roller coaster. Okay, student practice. Here we go. You must weigh less than 250 pounds to go on the zip line. Write the inequality and graph it on a number line. And then the second one, the perimeter of a square is more than 20 centimeters. What could be the length of each side? Write the inequality and graph it on a number line. And again, pause the video here. And I want you to take about 3 minutes to complete both of these. Read them together. Discuss what you think it's going to look like. Write your inequality and draw your number line. Pause the video here. Check back in 3 minutes. Okay, so let's check and see if this is less than 250 pounds. We're going to have weight is less than 250. And you're going to have 250, 200, 150, 100, 50. Okay, we're getting down into small children around here, so I'm not going to go much further than that. You must weigh less than 250 pounds. This is where I'm starting. 250 pounds. You must weigh less than 250. Okay, if you're going on a zip line, you're probably not going to be a small child. So we'll come about down to here. But if you must be less than 250 pounds, this is going to remain an open circle. It's not going to be a closed circle. And looking at the second one, the perimeter of a square is more than 20 centimeters. What could be the length of each side? Well, again, if I have a square, and I'm talking about perimeter, I mean, we're talking about distance around. So if I have a square and I walk all the way around, and it's going to be more than 20 centimeters. What is that inequality going to look like? What is that number line going to look like? Okay, so this is what you would have discussed. If I know that I have a square and the perimeter is more than 20, then that means that each side must be more than 5. 5, 10, 15, 20. Okay, I'm going to start my number line here. But if it's more than 20, I can't have each side being exactly 5, because then that's going to be exactly 20 all the way around. It has to be more than 20. So it could be 5.10, it could be 5.5, it could be anything greater than 5, but not 5. Okay. The next one. The building is more than 50 feet tall. Write the inequality and graph it on the number line. So you have 3, 4, 5, and 6 remaining. So I want you to take, let's take 6 minutes and complete 3, 4, 5, and 6. So pause the video here for about 6 minutes. Check in with the students before beginning again to make sure that they're doing okay and they've got the idea. But work on the remaining ones and we'll check back in shortly. Okay. So we have the building is more than 50 feet tall. I'll put B for building is more than 50 feet tall. Write an inequality and graph it on a number line. Hopefully your lines are coming out a little bit straighter than mine. And since I don't have any negative numbers, I'm going to start this with 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Okay, it is more than 50 feet. So this is where I'm starting my graph. it is greater than 50 feet. It's 51, it's 50 and a half, it's 52, anything greater than. So this is an open circle because 50 is not part of your solution set. Let's take a look at 4. I have h is greater than -5. Greater than -5. Okay, so here's greater than, and I'm going to keep going to the right. But if it's greater than -5, it cannot include -5 as part of the solution set. So it is an open circle. Looking at number 5, everything in the store costs less than $10. So I'm going to put P for price, less than $10. Here's my number line. And I have 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Less than $10. So it could be $9.99, $9.90, $8.50, but it's less than $10. It does not include 10 in the answer solution. So my arrow is going to come this way, but I'm going to take a look at, they didn't say it was free. They said it's less than $10. So this is going to be open here, and this is going to be a closed circle right about here. It's not free, but it could be a penny, could be 10 cents. So that's going to be shaded in. And the last one, P is less than 3 1/2. Less than 3 1/2. So I know I need to put fractional amounts on this number line. So I'm going to put 4. And this is going to be the halfway mark. That's 3 1/2. There's 3. There's 2 1/2. There's 2. There's 1 1/2. There's 1. There's a half. There's 0. There's -1/2. There's -1. Negative, did I say negative half? -1. -1 1/2. -2. Okay, so less than 3 1/2. Here's 3 1/2. And it's less than, so I'm going to the left. And this is going to remain an open circle. It does not include 3 1/2. It includes everything less than 3 1/2. Okay, so that's all of our work for today. If there is still time in the class period, Take out a book for silent reading and read silently. Or if you have any remaining work for Mr. Storch, you may work on that, or you can do some extra credit problems for math. That will again be part of your fourth quarter grade. Whatever you're working on, you're working on it with your mouth closed. You are not talking. Okay? So do a good job, and I will see you on Monday.